just going to go ahead and press record. We will have the replays up for everybody and we will keep it up until March 30th. So just so you know, if at any time you're like, darn, I can't make it live. I really want to hear what Chris said again, or I really want to hear that again, like no problem, we've got you. We have a couple places that the lives are going to be, just so you know. So we'll just get into some of the housekeeping stuff real quick, and then we're going to dive into our good stuff. So the replays, where can you find them? They are going to be in two places. For those of you that are inside of my Facebook group, Holistic Business Success, it is going to be inside of the guide section, and we will have them all listed inside of the guide, so you don't have to keep scrolling through posts to try to find it. The other place that you can find it is we have an entire separate web page. You will get access to that web page tomorrow or tonight, whenever my assistant sends out the, hey, here's your replay link. And we're going to send you over there. That way you can access everything on one page. If you have not yet booked your 15-minute Where to Find Paying Clients strategy session with me, you can also do it on that page too. And that way we can kind of take a look at who you're serving and really 15 to 20 minutes of some customized coaching. This is a no pitch call, I promise. I'm not going to try to convince you or persuade you or drag you across the finish line into an offer. It truly is my way to connect with you, to see where you are, and to help you walk away with a win. So that is my full intention, is for you to walk away from these 3 days, plus we're going to have a bonus day, with a win. I want you to succeed, because the more you succeed, the more people in our world are actually getting served. Right? When health coaches, life coaches, and spiritual clients are actually working with paying clients, our world is better because they start getting results, right? So that's my intention for these next couple of days, is for you to not only connect with me and see if you even resonate with what it is that I'm teaching. The truth is there are multiple ways that you can build and grow a business. And the way that I'm going to teach you is how I have built my business to well over $2 million, and in a way that feels really good and natural and connected and heart-centered, and not like I'm trying to convince or persuade or drag anybody across the finish line in 1-hour discovery sessions. By the way, I don't do those. If you guys do them, totally fine. They felt very much like bait and switch for me when I was taught inside of my coaching program to just give away free coaching sessions, but really sell them into your 90-day program. And that never felt really good for me. So I don't do those anymore. And when I stopped doing those, everything actually started working. So fancy that. when you stop trying to convince somebody to work with you, people actually come and they want to work with you. So what we're going to dive into today, and this is really, really important for where we are in the market, is where to find paying clients in any economy. And if you have your workbook, everybody should have gotten their workbook, or their client treasure map, I like to call it, because we're actually going to help you walk away with a minimum of 10 places that you're going to be able to find your specific ideal client. Not clients in general, but your specific ideal client. And because you guys are here live today, definitely stay till the end, because you are going to get my free handout, and it is 40 high-paying niches, not just niches, but the ideal client avatar that goes with that niche, and the I help statements. Like, holy crap, if I would have had that when I was a coach, I would have been golden. Because we're always like, I don't know, like I'm working with, we tend to say what it is that we do, right? I coach women. I can't even say it the opposite way anymore. My brain is so trained with helping my clients to come up with speaking chocolate versus broccoli, right? Chocolate is what is it that our ideal clients are asking for. Broccoli is what we know that they need, right? I'm going to help you with the meal plan. I'm going to help you go through a liver detox. Nobody wakes up and says, I want to go through a liver detox. Nobody wakes up and says, I want a meal plan. What they do want is the results from it, right? So the I help statement is actually with each one of these 40 high-paying niches, and it is categorized. There's 40 of them, so they are categorized for you under health coaches, under life coaches, under spiritual coaches, and there's going to be like another side category for more things that might fall underneath both life coaching and health coaching. So if that sounds good to you, go ahead and pop client in the chat for me, client in the chat, because this is your ideal client, and we want to make sure that in order to find our ideal client, we need to make sure we know who they are, right? We don't know who they are. We don't know where they are, right? It's kind of like driving around, Starbucks, the parking lot. We want coffee, but we don't really know what we want. And we never park the car and actually order the coffee, right? We're not going to get coffee that way. Same thing with clients. We need to know what it is that we actually want. We need to know who it is that we serve and then where to find her. So I want to start briefly before I share my screen with you, and I will be sharing. Great. I see lots of client in here. Fantastic. So I'm actually just going to be popping the PDF here in the chat for you so that you can access that. And for those of you that are inside of the Holistic Business Success Studio, that is our membership. That's our monthly membership. The replays are going to be in there along with all of the handouts that I'm using. So you will have access to those for as long as you're inside of the studio. That is a $97 a month studio that we have for our clients, where you get live training calls, Q&A calls with me, as well as live master classes too. So we take some of the things that I teach and we're going to move it over in there. That way you guys can have access to that anytime. All right. So why are coaches having a hard time finding clients? Like, I really, wanted to do a little bit of deep dive. This is a little bit different than some of my trainings before. Okay, great, Scott, client. Why are we actually having a hard time finding clients? And some of the things that I uncovered are that specifically the lack of differentiation is definitely one. Like, we feel like, yeah, I'm really not sure how to actually speak to that ideal client. Sorry, guys, I'm just pulling up my workbook so that I can find it for you guys. But we find that we don't exactly know either who we're working with, so we're not specific enough. Scott, I love it. You look like a leprechaun. Fantastic. Oh my God, I think that's so awesome. I need to figure out how to do that now. I love it. So we lack differentiation, right? And we tend to use really, really generic messaging, right? Anybody here, oh, I help people live their best life ever? Well, what does that even mean? Does that mean that I'm going to live my best life ever in my relationships, with my kids, in my business, with my health, with my money? Like, what does that even mean? Right. And so lack of clear differentiation about what it is that we help people with is one of the biggest struggles. And that is why I created the 40 high paying niches, the ideal client avatars that go with it, and that I help with. That way you can take a look at those 40 and be like, oh my gosh, yes, that's me. Right. Number two, we lack an unclear target audience, right? Again, an unclear target audience means, you know what, we can say that we work with women, but if we are not specific enough to say, you know what, the women that I work with are going through menopause and they're the ages between 30 and 50, or they are burned out mamas that are, stay-at-home moms, or they're working moms that are burned out. Like, we have to be really, really specific, because if we're not clear about who we serve, we absolutely attract no one. The message doesn't land because nobody can see it, right? So really, really important. Number three, marketing that's too broad or passive, right? We tend to rely on either social media posts, which there's nothing wrong with posting. It's just that is just one part of our marketing strategy. It's a very top of the iceberg. We tend to talk very generically with our content without anything strategic around it. And we also don't actively and consistently engage in actually connecting with people and nurturing. And that's a problem, because just posting does not actually convert clients. Posting content on social media is actually a way to attract new people into our ecosystem, but that is not a sales process, right? That is an attraction process. That's actually a marketing tactic. It's not a marketing strategy. It's a marketing tactic, right? And so I hear a lot of people tell me, well, I'm posting on social media, but I still don't have any clients. Well, I'm glad you're posting on social media, but that is one tactic inside of a marketing strategy. That's not the strategy, and that definitely isn't a conversion strategy. It's not even part of a sales process, okay? So we want to get really, really clear on the difference between marketing, client attraction, nurturing the people once they do come into our ecosystem, and actually having a sales process for what to do and how to identify who is in our warm market so that we can actually connect with those people. By the way, we never invite cold leads into buyers. Doesn't work, doesn't happen, right? We only want to identify who is in our warm audience, who's already gotten value. Those are the only people that we're going to invite to work with us. We're going to talk about that more actually on day 3 and day 4. So definitely come back to that. The other thing, especially when we're talking about being specific, is that here's the thing, people, and you may have heard this before and you may not have. So for those of you that are just trying to get your business going, or you've been in business for a few years and it's still not working, this could be something that is in the way. And that is when you're being too general, what happens is that it's like going to your family doctor and thinking that you are going to get an amazing heart surgery experience, right? Your family doctor does not specialize in heart surgery, right? Your clients are looking for a specialist. They're looking for an expert. If they do not find if they think that you're too broad, they're not going to want to work with you because they're looking for you to solve a specific problem. I want to say that again. They're looking for you to solve a specific problem, right? So for example, I don't know if you guys have had any dental work. My husband has got like the worst teeth ever. He goes to a regular dentist and then they have to like send him to another dentist that does the root canals, or, like a specific type of dentist.
Mm-hmm.
Right, Charlie? Yeah, she's like, yeah. So there's dentistry, and then even under dentistry, there's specific dentists that you have to go to get the root canal done, right? Those are specialists. That's where you are. You might be a health coach, dentist, but what do you specialize within the health coach industry or life coach industry or spiritual coach industry, right? So if we just say I'm a health coach, that doesn't really speak to anybody. Right. So we want to say I'm a health coach who helps women who are between the ages of 30 and 50 balance their hormones without medication, right? Or something. And you'll be able to take a look at the 40 ways there. So when we are unsure about this, then what happens is that we are not sure exactly, our confidence changes, and we're not actually showing up in the ways that our ideal clients are. We're actually not even, oh my gosh, please, sorry guys, my um, screen is like doing really weird things. We're not actually showing up where they are, and we're not speaking the language of chocolate that we need to be speaking, so that they themselves, I want you to hear me say this, your ideal clients will self-identify. Your ideal clients will raise their hand when you're being specific. So this is not
Mm-hmm.
about how do I chase down clients and get them to work with me, right? This is how can I be specific around who it is that I serve, solving a specific problem so that I can be the expert, so that they can see me as the expert and actually have them raise their hands, right? Where to find paying clients is in any economy is a really specific thing that I'm helping you guys with today, right? It's just not like how to make money in your business, right? Well, I could absolutely do a training on that. This is where do we find clients no matter what the economy is, no matter what's happening? Because the truth is
Mm-hmm.
people are investing, okay? And people are investing in health coaching and life coaching. Oh my gosh, so much. As a matter of fact, my business actually increased over 62% over 2024. And so I want to
Hmm.
share with you today the difference of what actually created that difference, right? It wasn't that people are not investing. They absolutely are investing. So it's just that we're not speaking their language. We're not speaking the chocolate. So they can't find us and we can't find them. And it's like, all right, well, I don't know what to do. So I'm going to go ahead and share my screen now with you guys so that we can figure out exactly where to find your paying clients in any economy. Okay. So before we dive in, let's just notice here, like, where are you on the pathway? Where are you on the ideal client pathway? I want to know exactly where you are so that I can tailor even more of the training for you guys. By the way, none of my trainings are ever the same because of your questions and because of the responses that you have and where you are in this pathway. So can everybody see the handout, by the way? Yep. Cool. So are you just starting out? Maybe you just got your certification. Maybe you're a certified health coach, certified life coach, certified intuitive coach, a service-based holistic practitioner in some way, shape, or form. You've got no clients. You're not sure where to find them. And you're just like, yeah, I want to do this thing. I'm passionate about it. And I have absolutely no idea where to start. If that's you, just notice that. You're probably feeling invisible right now, right? The next step is you have a few clients, you've gotten a handful of clients, but it really just feels like dumb luck, right? You're like really amazed. Somebody actually found me. That was like dumb luck, right? You're still not sure where to find them consistently, and you still want help now. The third step is, or the third phase here is you've had lots of clients, you're making great money, but they're not consistent. Some months are great, you're like, whoa, amazing. And some months suck. Like they're like, I don't know what just happened. Like I'm in feast or famine mode, right? You're tired of trying to figure this out alone. I call it duct taping and popsicle sticking things together, right? It's like a freebie here and a freebie there, and just kind of trying to put it all together. And you know that you need help. You want to collapse the timeline. Okay. And then the last place is you know your ideal client really, really well. You know where he or she hangs out. You attract her easily and consistently. Yes, I know it's a typo every month, but it's actually fun. It's actually fun. Who wants to get to a place where you know where your ideal client is, you know where she hangs out, and it is easy to attract them and it's actually fun? Anybody else here for fun? Because honestly, if it's not fun, if we're struggling, like we're not doing it, right? That's the when we're struggling here and it doesn't feel fun and we're self-doubting, this is when we want to burn it all down. By the way, you'll probably want to do that several times on your entrepreneurial journey. Ask me how I know, right? But I promise that there is a method to figuring this out, and you will get to a point where it's actually fun and it feels more easeful and you're actually bringing income in consistently. Okay. So today is all about who is your ideal client. Who is your ideal client? Remember, we want to be as specific as possible here. I am not going to go through all of these because I want to share the 40 high paying niches, the ideal client avatars that go with it, and the I help. But this is where I want you to start. Please do not skip this. I know it's a pain in the butt. Oh my gosh, right? But this is so, so important because if you are not specific around who they are, what they're struggling with, and look, we get to keep it really simple too. I want you to think about this from the perspective of Pain Island and Pleasure Island. So you can even have two different pieces of paper. Mark one that says Pain Island, one that marks Pleasure Island. So think of what's the main struggle that wakes your client up right now. Like it's something that she's Googling, right? She's Googling, how do I fix the thing, right? How do I balance my hormones? Why am I still holding on to my weight in my 40s? How do I have more energy? Whatever it is, right? So on the Pain Island piece of paper, write all of those things down so that you can really uncover what is it that you are hearing your person actually say. And this is important. This, we really don't want to guess about this. Okay. We don't want to like be like, well, I think, ask. If you don't know, ask. Like find a handful of people that you think might match your ideal client, who you want to most help, and then just specifically ask, right? What's your main struggle? Like, what are you Googling? What would you want solved? Right? What are the doubts they're experiencing right now? We need to know that too, because if they're doubting whether it's even possible for them to lose weight, or if they're doubting if it's even possible for them to balance their hormones naturally, they will never be a yes to buy for you from you because they're doubting that possibility and that transformation is even possible. Okay, so we need to know what the doubts are so that we can help serve them and give them value so that they can actually believe that it is possible. Okay. What do they have to believe in order to see that the transformation is possible for them right now, right? Not when all the kids are grown, not when all the stars align, not when we're not in Mercury retrograde anymore, but right now, right? They're like, I'm sick and tired of this. I can't go hiking. I can't do the things that are bringing me joy. And so I really want to solve this now. What is it that they have to believe? They're believing something that is telling them that I need to get this handled now, right? I need to get this handled now. So we want to uncover what that is. What does your ideal client believe will happen if they don't succeed? Right? So look, there is a cost to everything, right? If we don't succeed, there's a cost there. If we do succeed, there's a cost of time and energy, right? But we want to first uncover like what is it actually costing them to be stuck? What is it costing them to be in on Pain Island? So I want you to put them on Pain Island. What is it costing them? What are they going to continue to experience in terms of their health, their life, their business, their relationships, right? If they don't get this fixed, these things are going to continue for them, right? And then we're going to jump over to Pleasure Island, right? Why is it important that they fix it now? What do they get to have once it's fixed, right? This is the why underneath the why. If they want to lose weight, why? What do they get to have? If they want to balance their hormones, why? What do they get to have? Maybe they get to sleep through the night. Maybe they don't have wake up in a, puddle of sweat because they're not having hot flashes. Maybe they are feeling more confident and able to wear the sundress that they've been hiding in the back of their closet. Okay. So why is it important that she fix it now too? Okay. And then what feelings, actions, and circumstances does your client no longer want to experience too? That's going to be really, really beneficial, because then we can take a look at what are the reasons that she gets to have this without having to do this other thing, right? I know when I wanted to balance my hormones, when I was going through menopause, I was like, I don't want to weigh food. I don't want to count calories. I don't want to do that, dumb stuff. I don't want to have to track everything that goes in my mouth. That doesn't mean that your ideal client or what you do, if you do any of those things, isn't effective. It's just that I wouldn't be your ideal client, right? Because there are certain things that I'm like, yeah, I don't want to do that. I don't want to do that. So it's going to be helpful for us to uncover what are some of the feelings, actions, and circumstances that she doesn't want to experience anymore. And also, what is she not willing to do to have it? Right? What is she not willing to do to have it? For me, when I was building and growing my business, I was not willing to work around the clock. I was not willing to work on weekends. When I had my kids, I wanted to go to the soccer games. I wanted to make sure I was present for my 3 children, right? I was not willing to completely exhaust myself and go crazy, right? So also, what are some of the mistakes? The mistakes that your ideal client is making right now that that might be keeping them stuck. So, for example, maybe they are trying something that is actually outdated, right? Maybe they are believing that if I just exercise an hour on the treadmill, everything will be fine, right? Or if I just go keto, or if I just go vegan, I don't know. It depends on what your ideal client is, right? Is there something that is keeping them stuck because they're focusing on the wrong thing? They're implementing the wrong strategy, or maybe they're actually missing a foundation. For those of us in the health coaching and life coaching field, a lot of times what we take for granted as a foundation and common sense that people should know, our ideal clients don't. I remember when I started running a 6-week health coaching program, and the people that I was coaching through that 6-week health and nutrition program did not know that broccoli and apples were carbs. They were like, oh, I don't ever eat carbs. I'm like, really? Yeah, I don't eat rice. I don't eat bread. I'm like, oh, do you eat veggies? Oh, yeah, I love veggies. I'm like, well, you're eating carbs, right? So people don't know some of the common things. So maybe they're missing the foundation, right? And then what would your ideal client need to believe in order to see that your offer, your program, we don't have time to get into like actually creating your program today, but it's possible for them right now with your help at a level 10 on a scale of 1 to 10. If they are not, this is what I call my heart yes clients. If they are not willing, they have to be willing and capable to have the transformation that they desire. Now, with my help, if they're not a yes for those things, they can't be a yes for actually working with me, and they can't be a yes for actually working with you. This is something that I train on actually inside of one of my programs. Sarah, you know this, the ladder of beliefs. In order for a ideal client, in order for any client, it doesn't matter if you are a health coach, life coach, spiritual coach, in order for anybody to say yes to working with you, they have to believe that whatever transformation you are telling them you can help them with is possible in the world, possible for them right now. They want your help, and they're willing and capable of creating whatever it is that they need to make that happen. Okay. If they're not willing to do what it takes, they're not going to be a yes, right? If they don't believe the transformation is possible, they can't be a yes. If they don't believe the transformation is possible for them now, they can't be a yes. Okay, so this is where we really want to get into, all right, well, what are the beliefs that would help them be a yes for, I believe it's possible. And again, we're talking about the transformation. We're not talking about a 12-week program or a 90-day program or a 6-month program. We're talking about a transformational result, that they have to believe that that transformational result is possible for them now with your help. They're willing and capable of putting in the time and the energy and invest the money in order to get the result. If they're a no for any of those, they can't be a yes. And so giving away a 1-hour discovery session or trying to convince or persuade or drag anybody across the finish line will not work. Is this landing for anybody? Is this landing? Go ahead and pop yes in the chat if this is landing. Yes, great. Thank you, Wayne. Yeah. Does this make sense around why, when you get on a sales call with somebody, if there is not a relationship, if there is not a level of trust, if there is not a level of safety, if there is not a level of connection, they haven't gone through the ladder of beliefs. And so if you're getting a lot of those no's, this is why. This is why. Okay. So for those of you that are like, I don't know why, this is why. All right. So let me go back and I'm going to share my screen again because we are going to pull up the 40 ways. Let me find that. Or the 40 high paying niches and the ideal client avatar so that you guys can take a look and see if you can find yourself in this. Okay. All right. Hang on. Here we are. All right. All right. I don't think you guys are seeing the right thing. Hang on. Because it wasn't lit up. All right. Can you guys see that now? 40 high paying coaching. All right. Perfect. Awesome. Awesome. So I'm giving you 10 different niches, health and wellness coaching niches. God, that's such a hard word. Ideal client avatar, right? And then the example down here is the I help, right? I want you to notice the difference here in the ideal client avatar and also the I help. Now, some of these are still going to be just a little bit more general because even, a busy professional could be a man or a woman. It could be a CEO. It could be a stay-at-home mom. Like we can even get even more specific. So honestly, I'm not so worried about the actual niche. What I really want to dive in on, which even more important, is your ideal client avatar. Because when we know who your ideal client avatar is, now we know what language to speak to them. Okay. So you still might be under the holistic health coaching niche, right? But who are you supporting? Who's the actual ideal client avatar underneath there? Right. So for an example, I help busy professionals regain their energy and well-being, right? That's what I want. That's Pleasure Island without strict diets or overwhelming routines. Pain Island, right? What is it they don't want? Okay. If you are coaching in weight loss and metabolism, right? A health conscious individual, right? We would get more specific here. Man, woman, how old are they? What's their job? Who has tried multiple diets but struggles to maintain long-term weight loss. And this is important, wants a personalized approach. Personalized approach, right? So it could sound like I help health conscious individuals lose weight and boost their metabolism. That's what they want. They want to lose weight and boost their metabolism without what? Without restrictive dieting or excessive exercise, right? So these are just ideas, and you guys are going to get the handout so that you can take a look. I'm not going to go through all of these. So we have got 10 here for you for health and wealth coaches. We've got 10 high-paying life coaching niches. So high performance coaching, confidence and self-worth coaching. For those of you that have had somebody tell them that they can't make money in personal development, I'm here to tell you, you absolutely can. We just need to get specific around the problem that you're solving, right? Confidence and self-worth, relationship and communication, career transition, emotional intelligence, mindset and personal developing. All of these are high paying niches, which means people will invest in making sure that they've got customized and personalized support to work with you. Okay. Time management and productivity, executive and leadership coaching. Okay. Manifestation and abundance mindset coaching, public speaking and charisma coaching. So all of these. Then we take a look in the spiritual coaching, right? Intuitive and energy healing, soul purpose and life alignment, manifestation and law of attraction, all of these. Notice how these are very different and very specific, even though they're still underneath a spiritual coach niche. So remember when I used the example of dentist, right? Health and wellness coach up here, dentist. right? What type of health and wellness coach are you? Weight loss and metabolism, gut health and digestive, hormone balancing, right? Anti-aging, sleep optimization, stress and burnout recovery, emotional eating and body image. Do you see how we're getting, and even autoimmune and chronic illness, right? So one of my clients, she has landed on Hashimoto's. She is a coach that specializes in helping women with Hashimoto's. That's very specific, right? Is she going to do some of the same things as managing stress and getting good sleep? Absolutely, for sure, right? But she is talking to somebody very specific. So somebody who is struggling with Hashimoto's is going to be like, holy cow, that's me. That's me. I know I've got Hashimoto's. I know I've got a thyroid disorder. Or the woman who wants to balance their hormones and not use medication, not have to be on Synthroid or whatever the other medications are, right? When we're specific about hormone balancing, right? Whether we're balancing hormones and thyroid together, like that is speaking to something very, very specific. Okay, so I am going to stop the share here, and I am going to go ahead and pop this in the chat for you guys so that you can go ahead and download it and have it, keep it in your files. Let's see, there we go. So you can download that and you can take a look at what resonates with you. And remember, all of these are high paying niches. All of these you can absolutely make six figures and multiple six figures in. Absolutely. It's happening. People are making amazing money doing this. You can too. However, the coaches that are struggling to make six figures, and some of you of them might be you, just haven't been taught how to speak the language of chocolate and or how to attract your ideal client into your ecosystem, how to actually connect and nurture them before you're inviting them to buy, right? And then how to actually invite them to work with you. Okay. And more specifically, when we know who she is and how it is that we're helping them, now we know where they're hanging out. Now we know where they're hanging out, right? If we know that somebody is someone who's in menopause and who is trying to, whoops, here we go, and someone's trying to balance their hormones, now we know where to find them. So this is also going to be where we are going to take a look at where to find your client. So once we know who she is, once we know what she wants support around, or he, okay, now we're like, all right, where are they hanging out? They are going to be hanging out online and offline. So I've got another handout for you guys that I will absolutely, this is like a bonus of where are they actually hanging out, but we're going to talk about that as well. Where do they hang out? If she's a spiritual coach, maybe she wants help in her spirituality. Maybe she's actually going to church. Maybe she's going to a certain type of church. Maybe she's going to a yoga class. Maybe she's doing meditation. Maybe she's going to get sound therapy. Maybe she's getting massage, right? We want to uncover where specifically are they hanging out. Why? Because that tells us where we want to go. It tells us who we might also want to collaborate with. It tells us who we might also want to partner with, right? So there are things that we can do to find our ideal clients. One is, what are we personally going to do organically so that they can find us, so that we can be visible to them? We need to go to where they are, right? And the other lever is, who can help us? How can we leverage somebody else's audience, right? So when I was building my six-figure health coaching and nutrition practice, I actually connected and collaborated with acupuncturists, doctors, massage therapists, chiropractors. Those were people that actually served my ideal client in a different way. Okay. So we want to get clear, like, what did they read? Maybe they're in a spiritual book club, right? Maybe they are in a knitting club. Heck, I love to knit. By the way, I love to knit socks and I love to knit shawls. That's my jam. So you will probably find me in a knitting store. What workshops or seminars? Sarah's giving me a big clap. What workshops or seminars do they go to? Right? This is important because if your person is an executive, there might be some executive seminars that they're going to. If your person is in the spiritual growth category and life coaching category, maybe she's going to a specific seminar there, right? Who do they do business with on a regular basis? Meaning, where else are they already investing their money? Where else are they already investing their money? For example, my person that I coached as a health coach also went to Pure Barre. She went to Cycle Bar. She went to Orange Theory. She went to meditation and wellness studios. So I knew that if I did a free talk, I would actually be able to be visible in front of my ideal client there. So those are actually offline ways that you can do that. Online ways, you can absolutely do that too, right? So if we want more of a global reach, right, then we do want to be online someplace. Facebook and YouTube are the two highest places that people hang out in, well over any of the other ones, well over Instagram or TikTok or Pinterest or anything, right? Facebook and YouTube, those are the two places that people hang out. Okay, so we know most likely your ideal client is hanging out. They're either watching YouTube videos to learn more about what it is that they want to learn. Anybody ever YouTube meditation? Yeah, right. How to get better sleep or how to feel more calm, right? Absolutely. So you guys are all have all at least probably spent some time on YouTube, and you're all on Facebook because I wouldn't have met you if you weren't on Facebook. Many of you are already in my Facebook group, right? So that doesn't mean that we have to spend all of our time there. It just means that if we want a global reach, we have to get in front of our ideal client. We need to go where they are. Okay. We can also take a look at podcasts, right? What podcasts do they listen to? Right? You can easily, search out those podcasts. You can search out the people who actually run the podcast. Most of your podcasters also have a Facebook group. You can go pop in their Facebook group and connect with the people there too, right? What personal clubs or professional organizations do they belong to? And who might have a list of these people? Who might have a list of these people. So again, once we know who they are, then we can dive into not only answering those questions, but we also want to take a look at this bullseye here. Okay, so the first place that we start when we want to uncover who our ideal client is to actually start with our personal connections. Most of you have been taught that you just like have to, get in front of a whole bunch of strangers in order to get them to be clients. Okay, at least I was, right? That's actually starting on the outside, the universe connection. We don't want to do that. We actually want to start in the middle with personal connections. Who do we know already who has an experience of know, like, trust with us? Who do we know already who already has an experience of know, like, trust with us? Right? That's where we start. These could be current clients. They could be past clients. They could be people, for those of you that do have a Facebook group, they could be people inside of your Facebook group. They could be people that you've met at a networking event. They could be people that you've connected with in some way, shape, or form. These are your personal connections. We always start there. And this same thing applies for those of you that want to collaborate with others. Always start with your personal connections. Always, always, always. You do not need to cold call. Always start with who do you know? Who do you know? Then we go to that 1% connection. Who has a list of these people? Who do we know who has a list of these people? These are personal network connections, right? Each and every one of you here that is also inside of my Facebook group should absolutely be connecting with each other. Why? Because you can support each other, right? The mindset coach can work with the life coach, can work with the health coach, can work with the spiritual coach, right? Because we serve a similar client in different ways, right? My collaborators that I work with now in order to build and grow my business is a copywriting coach and a somatic coach and a psychic who helps people tap into the Akashic records and their intuition, and another business coach that does business a little bit differently. So she teaches business owners how to get on stages or how to get booked on podcasts. So those are our 1% connection. Then we're going to go out to our community connection. So you could think this could look like your churches. This could look like a book club. This could look like a program that you're in right now. Okay. For those of you that got their health coaching certification through HCI, like I did many, many years ago, there are multiple health coaches, right? So we've got a community connection where we can, one person might be focusing on young moms, another person could be talking about hormone balance. We've got two different age groups here. We've got a mom and a daughter, something where we could come together, right? We can take a look at, do we even go to a meditation or a yoga studio? Right? We can connect with that yoga teacher, right? Where we could do a talk, right? So community connection. And then the last one is the universe connection, right? We know that our ideal client is out there somewhere, and this is where we would want to research, such as who are the local yoga studios? Where are, what are the conferences that are happening close by? What are the conferences that are happening globally, right? One of my clients is a healing touch practitioner. And so she actually went to a in-person conference for healing touch, and she actually did a talk there. So that was actually a global connection and a universe connection. So if we take a look at all of these places, we could easily make a list of a minimum of 10 places where we could find our ideal client. Minimum of 10 places. Just in my personal connections alone, I could come up with 10 personal ideal clients who has either worked with me previously or has been a no not yet, or is in my Facebook group, or has come to a Facebook Live, or has come to a masterclass, or has heard me on a podcast, or has downloaded a freebie. Just in that one part. Okay. So how is this landing for you guys? Are you seeing, because I really want you guys to see that there is so much opportunity and possibility to find ideal clients. Like there really is not a shortage. There really is not a shortage. There are more clients for you to support and work with who want you and need you. Can I get an amen to that? Somebody give me an amen. Good. Thank you, Carla. Right? So go ahead and come off mute for a minute and let me know, what questions do you have around what we've covered so far around where to find paying clients. And this is just day one, y'all. This is just day one. Tomorrow we're going to talk about, once we know who they are and where they are, we're going to talk about what do we actually give them? How do we actually get their attention so that they can raise their hand and we can actually see who they are? We're going to dive into that tomorrow. That's the next juicy piece, right? Once we know who they are, once we know where they are, now we need to decide what are we going to actually give them that we know that they're asking for and how to actually do that. So what's coming up for you? I would love to answer some questions in the remaining time that we have, and also, do a little bit of coaching with you guys. Who would love support today around this? Whether it's around your ideal client or where to find them. Do not be shy. I won't voluntold you, I promise. Yeah, Dandini.
Hi there, Chris. So as you were sharing all this information, I was thinking about some Facebook groups that might have quite a few of my ideal clients, but they would be very cold, like they wouldn't really know who I am. And I was just wondering, how would you sort of um broach the topic of what you do within such spaces?
Yeah. Oh, such a good question. So you're absolutely right. When we first go into a audience that's not our personal audience, right? They are cold, and we'll definitely dive into this tomorrow more. We'll dive in deep tomorrow, but I want to answer your question today. And that is, we start first with the intention of just serving and giving value. That's it. We always come from a place of service first. So for example, if somebody is struggling with something, I might actually say, hey, I saw that you are struggling with, blah, blah, blah. Happy to, give you a free handout. Happy to give you my free sleep guide. I did this with women. It was a group that I joined when I was building my nutrition practice and coaching practice. And they were women 50 and over. And one person was talking about what a hard time they were having sleeping. And I was like, yeah, I get it. And, this is what I did. And this actually seemed to help. And then I said, by the way, I have a free handout on how to get good sleep. Happy to share it if you want it. And she was like, oh, that would be lovely. Thank you. And it was a give. It was just a give. I didn't try to convince her, persuade her, get her on a discovery session to try to sell her anything. And because of that energy, that giving energy, we are going to resonate and we're going to call more people into our world. I literally had somewhere around 75 to 100 people message me after that comment and ask if they could have it too. Could I have it too? I'm like, absolutely. Guess what? Now 75 people have my handout that's got my name on it. That's got a link to join my Facebook group if they want to join my Facebook group and connect with me more. And it was totally a give, right? So you're right. We don't ever want to try to convert a cold lead. You do not have to convert cold leads. There is not anything that you can say to overcome an objection for a cold lead. Why? Because she can't be a yes. He can't be a yes. They haven't gone up the ladder of beliefs. And nobody can be a yes if they don't feel safe. Nobody can be a yes if they don't see that you have value. And if you're trying to convince or persuade them to work with you, how's that feel? Right? Anybody else been on a call where you know that they're just trying to convince you to work with them, right? And just make a sale? It doesn't feel good. It feels off. We might not even know why, but we're like, oh God, there's just something, right? So we don't ever need to be in that. And when we're from the place of value, how do I give more value? How do I put more value? Now, this isn't saying I'm giving away coaching. Let me be clear about that. This is how do I give value? Okay. The more value I put out in the world, it always comes back to me. Always, always, always. And I trust that. It's a universal law. Look at all of the different religions out there, belief systems out there, right? What you put out, you get back, whether you believe in karma, whether you believe in Christianity, with what you sow, you shall reap, all of it, right? So if you are in the energy of how could I just deliver value, then that is a way where you actually start connecting and building a relationship. So this is a very relationship based way so that you don't feel like you're trying to, again, drag somebody across the finish line and to be a buyer. Is that helpful?
Yes, I have another question, but I'll save
Sure.
it for tomorrow. Or
Okay.
shall I?
Go ahead. No, you
It's
go ahead, and then I'm
it,
going to go to Mindy. Yeah.
okay. So the sort of client I'm thinking about, because I'm sort of reshaping who I'm targeting now. I'm a life coach, and I was thinking about targeting people who are third culture kids, people who come from a certain, ethnic background but grew up
Yeah.
somewhere else.
Yeah. Yeah.
And
Yeah.
there's so many groups
Yeah.
around that on Facebook. However, I don't often see them talk about mental health.
Yeah. Ooh.
So this is where
Yay.
yeah. So I mean, I just, of course I can be creative and I could just like come from a place of vulnerability and share those sorts of things to see if anyone else resonates. And I just feel like I'm doing this because it's like a human need to serve. It's not like this.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah.
Um, but I feel like it may take a few more steps because if it's not
Yes.
something that's talked about, if it's like part of the broccoli of what they want in life, but they're here for the chocolate, which
Yes.
is,
Yeah.
ooh,
Yeah.
it's
Yeah.
tricky, I
Yeah.
think.
Yeah. Yes. So, is your question, how do you connect with them, or how do you know, like, what is your question specifically
I
around that?
guess my question is like, I would be bold enough to assume a lot of the people in those groups are seeking what I'm able to offer them.
Okay.
However, it's not part of the conversation
Okay.
that's happening.
Okay, got you. Okay, so a couple ways that you can make it part of the conversation is you can ask questions in the group, right?
Okay.
So, you know, yes, can you share, a piece of vulnerability for sure, but you could also be, very specific with, what is going on in your life. Like my clients know that I'll say, look, what's happening in your life? That we have at least 5 things that we could look at that's going on in our life right now that would be relevant to our ideal client. So, what's something that you personally might have struggled with in the past? And you can be like, hey, does anybody else feel this? Like, am I the only elephant, pink elephant in the room? Like, you could ask a question around that. And if someone else is going, oh my gosh, me too, me too, me too, me too, me too, well, now you've just made a connection there,
Mhm.
right? And then you can find out what is their actual response. And that is actually going to give you ideas for what is the value that you could create, right? So maybe they're saying something specifically where they're like, yes, oh my gosh, I'm so stuck here and I don't know what to do. you'd be like, oh, well, let me just create something. Let me create a handout for that. Well, now you have a freebie that you can again offer and give as value that way.
Yeah.
So
Thank
that's
you
what
very
I'm.
much. That's great.
Yeah, yeah, for sure. That's what I mean about, giving value, asking questions, listening to what questions that other people are asking, other people are posting in there, and just being there. Again, we're not going in there to be like, how do I get a client today? Right? Like that is the wrong energy to approach it, right? Do we want paying clients? Yes. We have to have paying clients in order to have a business. However, we don't have to come from that aggressive energy of I got to get a client today. We can actually say, gosh, I wonder who I could connect with today. I wonder who might need support today. I wonder who might need some value that I can offer them today. So let's start from there instead of automatically in the conversion of how do I make a sale with cold leads, right? You're right. When you said there's a couple missing steps, there are. Like we have to back it in instead of trying to make a premature marriage proposal of, hey, I know y'all are struggling with mental health. Who wants to work with me in my 90-day program? Like nobody's going to take you up on that, right? But we're going
Yeah.
to be like, oh my gosh, who else is struggling with XYZ? Oh my gosh, I've been there too. And, you know, some of my friends have struggled with it too. Some of my family has struggled with it. I decided to create this free checklist or free guide. Let me know if anybody wants it. Happy to share. Like value, right? Just value, right? Then we connect. Because honestly, we don't even know until we connect and actually have a relationship with people, whether they even are looking for support. We don't know if they're willing, right? And if
Yeah.
they're not willing, it's stupid for us to offer a 1 hour coaching session to try to convince them to buy our thing. They're not willing to make any changes, right?
Yes.
Yeah,
Mhm.
cool. Awesome. Thank you for your questions. Those were great.
Thank you.
Mindy, how can I support you today?
Hi, good to see you,
Hi.
Cass. I don't know if you remember, you were on a summit that I hosted a few years ago.
Oh my gosh, thank you. Thank
Yeah,
you for being back here,
yeah,
me
good
in
to
my
see
room
you.
this time.
Yeah. So, I took a couple years off for some
Mhm.
health issues, and I'm relaunching. And couple things is one is that I really upped my game in certain areas that I want to pull into my business. And then as I went through the niches,
Mhm.
um, my people can cross over into a couple different,
Yep,
because it's
yep, yep.
like they're interested in energy work, they're interested in intuition. And so, and the latest thing that I want to bring into it, and I haven't figured out exactly how to do that, but I know I'm going to do it, is that I'm going to be doing some brain optimization with DNA testing, very specific
Mm,
DNA testing, um, because so many people that are sensitive have quirky DNA that if you don't support with the epigenetic aspect of it, it
mhm.
makes it so much harder for them to function.
Right.
So they're like thinking that,
Mhm.
they're kind of
Mhm.
crazy, and it's really
Mm,
being driven by the neurotransmitters that are associated with those and the clearing of
amazing.
that.
Yeah, so they don't
Um,
even know that, right? They don't even know
right.
that that is what's underlying, some of the problem. Yeah.
Yeah. And that can be supported by lifestyle habits and
Mhm.
also by supplementation,
Mhm.
changing your diet. Um, so a lot of their problems could start really diminishing just by addressing very specific
Mhm.
what's for them,
Yeah.
which is what I had to do.
Yeah. Yeah. Amazing.
So my question is, how do I sort through and make a decision on like what to highlight or where to which niche is going
Mhm.
to kind of like best represent the overlap
Mhm.
of a lot of these different things?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. That's a really good question. So, whenever I help my clients with this, the first place that we start is what is it that you love? Like, you're like, if I could have 100 clients, and look, you might not have capacity for 100. I'm just using that number. Like, if I could work with these people, helping them with this thing, oh my gosh, and make amazing money and feel good, like that is what I would want to do. So, first, we always start with that, right? So, whatever is most connected to you, we want to start there. And then we want to take a look at who do I know who I might be able to actually do some market research with to find out what is the main problem. right? So they might be sensitive, they might be intuitives, they might be on a spiritual journey, which is great, but that's not the problem that they're struggling with. So we want to, so who they are is one thing. The problem that they're struggling with is the other thing, right? The broccoli that you've got right now is the brain health and the DNA, right? They're not asking for that because they don't know to ask it. So, that's what we would give them, like, oh, well, actually, you need this, to uncover, this in order for us to get even specific about, this. That's broccoli. So we don't necessarily want to lead with that. What we do want to do is uncover, but what are they saying? I'm crazy. Like, are you feeling crazy and you don't know what's going on? Are you feeling so sensitive that you're reacting to bub, like, right? So we want to get really clear on what is the challenge, the main problem that they're struggling with. So that's again what we would want to talk into as far as being the chocolate piece. So we can still have, professional growth and, intuitive and all of those things together. We would just want to see if we can kind of make some similarities so that we know exactly still what is the main problem. Is it a health issue? The reason why I'm asking is just because you said that you went through that. So, okay, they're struggling with a specific health issue. They probably are struggling with specific symptoms of that health issue, right? So that's the problem. That's what it looks like for them on Pain Island. So we would want to, you can still help them with the DNA piece. You can still help them tap into, the other things that you want to help them with. But we still need to know what's the main problem and then what do they want on the other side. There's a difference between what it is that we do, right? It's kind of like what is it that we support them with versus what it is that the problem is that they're struggling with and what is it that they want. It's like three different things, right? So that's where some of the confusion can come in for many of us. We're like, but I do this. Yes. And what are they asking for though? What are the symptoms of the problem? What is it that they're experiencing? And we're still going to do our thing, right? We're still going to give them the broccoli. They need to
Yeah.
eat the broccoli, right? We're still going to give them the broccoli. We're just not going to say, hey, who are my people who want to learn how to cook broccoli today? Unless they're going on a plant-based diet and that's actually what they're looking for, right?
Yeah.
Because nobody will raise their hand, right? So that's where having a little bit more customized support to kind of dive into those layers and uncovering, okay, what is the problem? Why does she want it solved? Where is she feeling stuck? Answering those other questions and then bringing all of that information together. And then we can kind of like lay it out and be like, oh, okay, this is who it is. This is the problem. This is the solution. This is my person. And again, that's why I say I'm more interested in an ideal client avatar than I am around a niche, right? The niche is the dentist, right?
Yeah.
I want to know what kind of dentist we're talking about, right? I want to know
What
if
kind of what?
the next root canal conference or
Mm.
are they a holistic dentist? Do they use amalgams or not? Like I want to know specifics there. And once we know that, the niche automatically opens up.
For some of those things, are you just kind of extrapolating that, or do you feel like you really have to have like a case example of somebody who's like that?
Yeah, well, you do need to have somebody specific. Yeah. Because if we don't, then again, it doesn't mean that you are working with them, but we do need to have, those specifics of what does it look like for Pain Island and Pleasure Island. Otherwise, we can't create content or value, and we don't know what content or what value to put out there if we don't have the answers to that.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Right? Like I could speak to dentists in general, and that would be fine. Right? But again, if I'm talking to a holistic dentist, that would be different, right? So, and they would serve different people. I actually collaborated with a holistic dentist. Why? Because as a health coach and a nutritionist, I knew that my people were already also interested in what else could be keeping them sick, which at that point back in 2015 there was a lot of information about amalgams and people were getting those taken out, and so I went and collaborated with a holistic dentist. Yeah.
Great. Thank you.
Yeah, I know that doesn't answer your question specifically. It's not, and because we just need more information, right? We kind of
Well, it's
just need.
helping me organize it in my mind because there's always a part of my mind that when I start to settle on one thing based on a certain group of people that I've worked with, then I go, yeah, but what about this, this, and this? Because some of these other folks had more dominance in these areas, you know,
Yeah.
and so it pulls me off track.
Yeah. Here's something else that I did that might be helpful. I took 3 of my most favorite clients, and I wrote them down and I said, okay, this was Liz, and this was Jane, and this was Sally, and this is who they are. This is what they do. This is what I'm supporting them with. This is what they're struggling with. This is what they're asking for solutions for, right? And then I started bringing the similarities together as to who they were, right? They were all let's see, they were all 40 and over. They actually were all wellness entrepreneurs. One was a health coach, one was a life coach, and one was a yoga teacher. Surprise, like I have over 30 years. I've done each one of those jobs myself. So your ideal client is also going to be a previous version of who we are, right? That's why we are doing the work that we're doing, because we've overcome something. We want to help others. So they're going to be so that's actually a good place to start there, is who have we worked with? We loved working with them. What are some of the similarities, right? I thought I was just working with, burned out women ages, 30 and over who wanted stress relief. Well, guess what? They were all actually wellness entrepreneurs as well, which I would have missed that if I hadn't written it all down and looked at it and said, okay, what's similar here?
Yes, yes, I like that.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I
So
love this list you came to. You put that all together yourself?
with the help of ChatGPT, yes, I just know how to use it really well to say,
I'm
all right,
impressed.
this is what
I'm
I'm looking
impressed.
for.
I'm impressed.
Yeah,
Helped a lot of people out if they had that in their
I
first
hope
coaching
so.
program instead of the 10th.
I know, right? Seriously, I was like, man, I wish I had this when I started in 2015.
Yeah.
Holy
Well, good
cow.
for you for figuring out to put it together.
Yeah, my pleasure. My pleasure. All right, everybody. Thank you for being here today. Come back tomorrow. We're going to dive in more around, again, once we know where they are, we know where they are, right? You guys can each, your homework for tonight is to think of 10 different places where they might be. 10 different, just write down 10 different ideas where you think they might be, where you could see they might be hanging out. Online, offline, doesn't matter to me. Tomorrow, we're going to come back and we're going to figure out what is it that they're looking for so that we can actually give it to them. And we're going to dive more into Nandini's questions on how to actually have them self-identify and raise their hand so that they can find us and we can find them. Sound good?
Yep.
All
Thank
right.
you.
You're welcome. And the replay will be up within 24 hours. Okay. All right. Bye.